I'm going to go back to that original event we were looking at now. And if you remember, this is an inverter that's underperforming relative to its own history and relative to its neighbors. Robert, I don't know, could you talk us through how you would respond to an event like this and maybe touch on what actually happened in this particular instance?
Yep, sure. So this case, this is it's a fairly small 10 megawatt solar project that's like 12 years old down in New Mexico. It's got 180 string level 55 kilowatt inverters on it. So it's on this project. It's often hard to see the forest through the trees. So in this particular case, the AC contactor is a contact that closes in the main power contact when irradiance or voltage is high enough. If that irradiance is low, or there's degradation on the panels, which there is, or there's DC string issues, which there is to 12-year-old site, that contactor will sit there and chatter kind of intermittently. So it's across the 180 inverters, if there's two or three, it's fairly easy to see. It's hard to kind of manage, right? Because we have a lot of data coming in, comm issues and whatnot. So this is really kind of where NarrativeWave helps us out by logging each one as its own individual event. Our engineers can go in and see, did this happen? We have some other dashboards set up with heat maps over time series. You can see, is this happening every day? Is it only happening once, right? If it's only happening once, it's probably not worth a truck roll to send somebody out. So kind of aggregating all the data here, and you can see the different views that are available to us. Our engineer can then go and say, yeah, this is real. Work with the O&M manager to say, this is happening. We think it's costing us this much lost energy. Why don't we go ahead and go out and fix it? And then the other part of this, George is showing it here, is trying to categorize exactly what's causing a lot of these issues. So in this case, we logged it as a aux contactor open, so we can then ultimately work to say, with our procurement team and others, say, hey, we need a new supply of these, or we need to redesign that type of thing.
Hey, Robert. Sorry, George. I got two quick questions. One, are you leveraging NarrativeWave to kind of keep, how do I say this delicately, your OEM and O&M partners honest in some of these respects? Is it helping that capacity today?
Yeah, definitely. Not necessarily on our self-perform sites, it's like directly actionable, right? But for a full wrap, either solar or wind project, it is almost as much as just having that knowledge base to really know what's going on with the project, to make sure that the OEM, even if it's a full wrap, make sure that they're providing their obligations under the contract and doing their best to operate the project as best as they can, right? So it's partly holding them accountable, but it's also collaborative. Believe it or not, with the OEMs, it's very akin to shadow monitoring on CMS drivetrain vibration, right? Or doing blade inspections along with the OEM. The more knowledge we have about the projects, even if it's a full wrap, the better off we're going to be, is our philosophy, basically.
No, that's very helpful. And that kind of permeates into my second question. There's a lot of traditional monitoring companies that do what we do, and then our focus obviously more on the advanced analytics. How do you see those coexisting in your world? Just out of curiosity.
You mean how does NarrativeWave compare, or how?
Yes. Compare or complement?
Yeah, so NarrativeWave, it's a quote unquote add-on or complement to our day-to-day monitoring platform. So it's it really enhances the capability of that day-to-day monitoring. So we still have a rock team, O&M team, right, that are doing day-to-day, turbines offline, let's go out, fix it right away.
Right.
We track some of that in NarrativeWave, but this is more of maybe a step back look and trying to catch those things that the rock's not catching, or the OEMs not catching, or OEMs aren't catching day to day. So it's it's an enhancement, really an add-on to the day-to-day platforms.
Got it. Thanks, Robert.